Hello, hello, hello. Welcome everyone to another live stream. I'm actually really excited about today's live stream. One, to talk about journaling, and two, just because as we go into Thanksgiving, I think I've been a little frustrated, and I always enjoy these live streams. So this is a nice reprieve for me. Don't know how the holidays have been going for you, but interested to know. So please let me know where you're watching from and who you are. And so we can have a conversation about journaling and how life transforming it can be. And in preparation for that, I actually just went down to my safe and got a bunch of my old journals, not all of them, but quite a few of them. Let me grab them real quick here. So here's a bunch. And then also these. So I used to use this style back in the early 90s and then switched to this style probably sometime around around 2003 or 4. So I am surrounded by my journals right now, which is kind of hilarious. Would have never thought I would have written this much. And, it's interesting because right now I'm just frustrated, and I'm not frustrated with anyone except myself. And just not pleased with the amount of work I've been doing recently. And I've kind of gotten into a routine where it's so easy to work on myself, right? Like athletically, fitness wise, that it's become almost an escape that, where I'm not sure what to be doing here or there, but what I can do is go work out real quick and feel good about myself. So I will consistently keep doing that. And, anything in excess is not good. And when it's used as an escape, also not great. And so I don't know, I guess, well, I guess we'll see where that unpacks in today. I'd say that let's see what some of the comments are, and then we'll start diving in, and I can share some of the things that have really worked for me. And in addition to that, for those of you who are members of our Facebook group, there is a report that a founder's report that I put in there. Probably of all the reports I've ever written, free and paid, got more positive unsolicited feedback than anything I've ever written. And that is the hidden obstacles to success. And it's really the only kind of mental head game, self-help, inner game of business, or whatever you want to call it, that I ever wrote. And got more positive feedback than probably anything I've ever written. So that's in the Facebook group. And so the name of the Facebook group is Strategic Profits, and it's free. So if you're not a member, you should be. If you're watching this on YouTube, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And if you're watching in Facebook, then you should go join our Facebook group if you're not a member. And if you're watching on LinkedIn, go ahead and connect with us, but you should probably jump over to either Facebook or YouTube as well, so that you can get some of those goodies. And let's say hello to everyone. And as always, let's make this as much of a conversation, a dialogue, and as less of a monologue as possible, so that the pressure is not all on me just to entertain, but also to make today useful for you as well. Hello, Renan. Always a pleasure to have you here. So thanks for being here. And you started journaling after getting into contact with me. So that's been a while. So I'm interested in what have been some of the key takeaways for you, Renan, and then also for any of you who've had challenges writing in a journal or keeping the habit up or anything like that. Be very interested to hear about that, as far as what has interfered or what are you doing that has been challenging. Thank you for sharing, Renan. And if you share, please put hashtag shared so I can thank you personally as well. Hey, Berg, good to see you too, my friend. And John, I have kidney issues recently. In Chinese medicine, kidneys are linked with fear. Starting journaling about my hidden fears, kidney issues subsided. That's interesting. That's really interesting. This is supposedly me. This is not me, though. So this is interesting. The impact of the COVID-19 pandemic is drastically changing the lives of people, including the lives of young people. Supporting our local communities is essential during these challenging times. 40 BTC bonus will be shared to BTC owners. I don't know what BTC stands for. From now till we delete this post, in order to participate in this, send 2 Bitcoins to 1 Bitcoin to the deposit address. What the hell is this? So I've been hacked, apparently. Let me just actually, please don't respond to that. I'm going to yell out to someone downstairs because that's somewhat troubling that someone just hacked my account, and that's my business account. So not good. Bear with me 1 second for a minute. Crap, actually. How frustrating. Yeah, bear with me 1 second, guys. I know dead air really sucks. Let me see if there's anything I can play for a minute or two. Well, I apologize. I'll be right back. I sincerely apologize. Hold on. Hey, Mark. Can you just come up here for a sec? I know, it's important. Yeah. I know you're on a call with Matt. I wouldn't bother you if it wasn't. All right. All right, I'm back. Wow, and we gained 3 people. Maybe when I'm not here, actually, it's better. So Mars, I have my friend Mars here. So as I'm doing this live stream, right, and there are comments posted to the live stream, there's a comment from me, which I didn't put, right? It's this comment. It says the impact of COVID-19 is drastically changing people's lives. 40 Bitcoin bonus will be shared to Bitcoin owners from now until we delete this post. In order to participate, send 0.2 of a Bitcoin, so like 10 grand, I guess, to 1 Bitcoin to the deposit address below. So I don't know. So someone hacked my Rich Sheffrin personality fan page, Strategic Profits. So can you just let Matt know when you're talking to him? Yeah, that's all. Yeah. Like, yeah. And we should delete that post. Hey, Rich, 50 years young and your body is amazing. Massive upgrade. Yeah, but I appreciate that. Totally appreciate that, Alexandru. The challenge is that when that becomes so easy to do and everything else, it's like, I don't know if other people have been in this situation. I assume most of us have been, when it's like, I know that if I went and jumped rope for 10 minutes, not right now because I'm doing this live stream, but before this live stream, let's say, in 10 minutes, I could do something and I'd feel good about myself and what I did. And I know I'd be making a difference. And I don't necessarily, I'm working on some big projects right now for Strategic Profits and Steal Our Winners. So it's not so clear to me like what I could do in 10 minutes that would really make a difference. And so, I have 10 minutes free. What do? I go jump rope but that consistently happens. And so I get to a place where, I feel really good about what I'm doing for my health, but really frustrated that I'm not doing enough in many other areas, whether it's my relationships or whether it's my business or things like that. That's a lot of journals. It certainly is. Rich Sheffrin, wow, I just credited my wallet. I received ×3 of what I deposited now immediately. Okay, so this person is also lying. And I really hope that I wish I could I guess I can. I'm going to delete this comment. And I'm going to block this user if I can. Oh, too late to block. Oh, no, it's not. All right, I'm going to now block this user. And want to take a picture of this. So when we make a complaint, hopefully these people can be caught. Oh, what a horrible thing, huh? Why do people feel the need to scam people? You know, just, I guess it's, yeah, like, so someone's trying to steal Bitcoins. Rich Shepard, I'm more excited that I just received mine now. Another bullshit thing. Guys, this really sucks. And if it continues, then I'm going to want to, like, maybe even cut this early. Hidden obstacles, life-changing material. Every person should dive in. Yeah. Old customer Rich Bone now from Burley, Idaho. Well, cool. How's Idaho treating you, Richard? My day will be lots of, oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, man. Oh, man. Guys, this really sucks. This really, really sucks. I don't know why all of a sudden there are all of these people. Oh, geez. Hey, Priya in Israel. Good to see you. Yeah, good to see you. Yeah, exactly. Were you? But like, there's at least 4 identities on this live stream that are BS. Here's a 5th one. Jesus Christ. How do we get all these people out of here? Of course, they're all on Facebook, huh? Resolve the hackers and continuing soon. It's not you. Someone just created a fake. Yeah, if someone created a fake, but now there's like 10 fakes, right? Yeah, Mars was in and out. Oh my, what about the Ron Svatic dude? Yeah, there's about 3 or 4 of them. I've been journaling since I was a kid. Good for you, poet. People are hacking the thread right and left. Yeah, they are. Access a link. It says it was created today. Yeah, it was. Whoa, scary. Obviously, friends of the real Rich Shepard are smart enough and won't give 0.2 to 1 Bitcoin. Same Bitcoins was happening on Peter Diamantis' Facebook Live. When was that, Michael? Was that today or yesterday? Hello, Emmy. Good to see you. Watch the comments, Rich. Lots of posters about the Bitcoin stuff. Yeah, it's such a shame, man. Karma. I hope they get what comes to them. Yeah, I mean, I guess I am happy that I'm here. Hey, Jeanette, good to see you. You know, it's interesting. I don't want to. Yeah, you would think that too, wouldn't you? It's interesting too because you know, yeah, I don't want to get into that. That's just gonna make this crappy. So I won't go there. Okay. So I try to write in my journal every day. Do I write? I don't necessarily write in my journal every day, but I try to. And I don't get hung up if I don't. Like, I don't see it as like I failed or anything like that, because the journal is really there to serve me. And what I do find, though, and I think I've shared this numerous times before. Do I have something on my face? No, I guess it's just on that camera. That I oftentimes, when I don't feel like writing, and I actually write that in my journal, I will often end up having some of the best journals that I've ever written before. And I think this is the very first one. Yeah. So this is my very first journal. It's kind of, it was, so I started April 29th, 1996. So 25 years ago. or give or take. And what I find, though, that is so powerful is that, one, I use it as my thinking tool, right? So I find that if I'm not writing in my journal, more often than not, any thinking that I do is kind of in little bursts, but it's not common for me to spend an hour thinking unless I happen to be doing that hour thinking while writing in my journal and kind of documenting what it is I'm thinking. So I do that now because I was fat as a kid. I guess that baggage always sticks with me. So I record what my weight is. And that's more for me to just be conscious of my weight. And I'd also say, and I don't know if this is an ADD thing or not, but I find that I have a tendency to go somewhat like, I would say unconscious, but that's not really the right word, more like on autopilot. And so weeks can go by without me really kind of purposely leading my life or moving myself forward. And so for me, the journal kind of prevents that. It keeps me in some degree of consciousness of where I'm going and what I'm doing. And so that life is not completely on autopilot. And, I read this book. I think, I don't remember the title of it, but it talked about how decision making is critical for snapping you out of autopilot, and that when elderly people go to like a nursing home and everything is pre-scheduled, it will degrade their brain even faster. And that there's a big difference between going to breakfast at 9 o'clock, because 9 o'clock is when breakfast is served, versus even at 9 o'clock saying, I decided I'm going to eat breakfast now. And it's in that conscious decision-making process that kind of wakes people up, if that makes sense. That because in that moment when you are making the decision, that's when you have to be present, right? And I guess now that I say that, I would say that when I'm writing in my journal, I tend to be very present. I'm very aware of where I am, what I'm doing, what I'm thinking. And so I would say more often than not, I have no idea where I'm going with my journal entry, right? That it could start out with what I did the day before, the previous night, how I slept, how things are going this morning, what I'm looking forward to today. But very quickly, it unpacks into more than that, right? Something that while I'm writing kind of hits upon something that all of a sudden becomes much more present and real for me. And so I'd say that I would say that it's in those tangents where I've gotten the absolute most amount of value. And so let's see. Hey, Rich, I've struggled with journaling. What comes to me to put on paper seems trivial and not particularly insightful. So it's made a challenging habit to maintain. I get that, Bill, but I wonder if you've ever pressed on with that, because I would say that a lot of my journal entries start out that trivial. But in the expressing of those trivialities, I would say that generally something comes up. I haven't read that first entry, but I don't know. I hope it doesn't get too personal, but let's see what I wrote. So this is back in 96. This is April 29th of 1996. I see some positive things about Tony Robbins because I was a Tony Robbins fan back before I met him. So let's see what I wrote. All right. So I've decided to start writing in a journal. I hope this lasts. Yesterday, Jay, Troy, and myself, they all worked for me, Jay and Troy, started a fast. I haven't been eating anything for 2 days, and I feel surprisingly good. I've been reading a lot about fasting, and it actually sounds like a pretty good idea. I think I'll start fasting 1 day a week, 24 to 36 hours, and 4 times a year. 4 times a year for 7 to 10 days. It makes a lot of sense to let your body rest for several days, shut down your digestive system, and get rid of all the excess waste that has built up in our systems. Once I'm done with the fast, hopefully I will go back to eating the Tony Robbins way. Speaking of Tony Robbins, I've gotten the tapes I was waiting for, and tomorrow I plan on starting Unlimited Power. I hope this book series serves 3 purposes. One, this book, I guess the journal, 1, a success journal, 2, a business journal, and 3, a personal journal. Starting tomorrow, I will enter all the Tony Robbins assignments in here. Business is really good. The store is doing very well, but I believe we can do much better. One of the major improvements that must be made is to myself. I have to use my planner on a daily basis. I also must commit to finishing my work during the day. Tomorrow, I will use my planner. In addition, tomorrow, I will also prepare for my meeting with Kane, parentheses PR team. I have high expectations from these guys. I hope they don't disappoint me. I think if the store and I both got publicity, it would be greatly increase our chances of me getting into YPO. It's Young Presidents Organization, which I was in, and now I'm too old to be in. Things with Nina, that was my girlfriend at the time, are going really well. They were shaky the last 2 weeks, but this past weekend at her brother's graduation got us closer together than we had been for a while. Tomorrow, I'll also be working on my vocabulary. It makes me uncomfortable when people use words that I am familiar with but don't know the exact meaning. Some short-term plans I have for the store are cross promotions, developing the department managers, getting our open to buy system to be as accurate as possible, cutting costs, not advertising, decreasing pilferage, and getting more PR. Cross promotions are really exciting to me right now. Since last week, we had a successful movie premiere that we gave tickets away for. The movie was Welcome to the Dollhouse, and they aired 200 promos on MTV, Nick at Night, or Comedy Central with our logo and name. I'm going to try to contact the other major movie houses, as we may get more opportunities for this exact same thing. It's great because 1, we get free advertising. 2, we get to give something to our customers that has value. 3, it's an easy icebreaker for salespeople to use. My dad just paged me, so I think I'll end here. I'll write more tomorrow. That was the end of my first ever journal entry. And so, I would say that there was nothing profound here, right? All I did was kind of recap what was going on in my life, all things that at this point, 25 plus years later, I've completely forgotten, right? And yet it's nice to have that. Even though there was nothing of any real significance there, it does bring me back to that time. And that's kind of cool. And I've never kept a journal to have that, right? To just have something to reflect on. However, every great part of my life has been documented in these things, and every horrible part of my life has been documented in these things. And it's funny because one of the things that I have spoken to other people about who keep journals, I'm like, well, what are you going to do when you pass away? And they're like, oh, I'm going to leave them to my kids. And I'm like, you're going to leave them to your kids? Isn't there stuff in there that maybe you wouldn't want your kids to read? And they're like, oh, I don't write everything in my journals. And I'm like, oh, I do. So I don't know what I'm going to do with these when I pass away. I don't know what should be done with these, but I know that a lot of people's feelings would be hurt. And I don't know that that's a good idea. So anyway, 96 jock jams were topping the charts. I tend to think more efficiently during periods when I've journaled consistently. There's more clarity and awareness when making decisions. That's totally the case for me too. I don't really reflect on the big things in my life unless I have a place to do that. And that really is the journal for me. The other thing is that I find that, even when I'm working on something, that I enjoy working with other people. And sometimes that's not possible. So I would say that the journal is a way for me to kind of work with someone else. And I know that might sound strange, but I write to myself, right, in my journal. So it's like I'm having a conversation. And it's in that conversation where a lot of times my best ideas come from. And so I totally get, though, that you would think more efficiently, because I definitely feel like I do too. To think is to put into ink. Yes. The human brain simply doesn't have enough RAM to make more complex decisions. That's what I think. Journals help suss out complex details. Yeah. I mean, I can't to think about something for 15 minutes, I'm going to be forgetting stuff that I was thinking in the first 2 minutes if I'm continually thinking. That's why writing is so critical. I find it challenging to sit down and write every day. I forget, I lose motivation, and sometimes I also go on autopilot, and a month has passed away. I get that too. And for me, I generally have like times specifically where I generally do it. Not that like I'm tied to it. I don't like being tied to anything, but where I've made space for it. So there's space on my calendar there. And oftentimes if I'm like the way I'm feeling right now, if I didn't have this live stream, I probably would be writing in my journal, really exploring that sense of frustration that I feel right now. And what I'd be exploring is, why do I do that? Why am I consistently defaulting to some physical activity? What are some activities I could do instead? So I'd start doing a bunch of pre-thinking, right? So that I don't necessarily follow the same action later today, tomorrow, what have you. Yeah, when I start writing, though, it flows really nice. Yeah, that's pretty much how it is, right? I like where this is going. Cool. It just doesn't matter what you write. You literally can write, I am journaling, I hate journaling, this stinks, and you would be making progress. I believe that's the case, especially because it would fall over into other things. I know this is my second break real quick. I'm just grabbing a drink right over there. I will be right back. All right. Here's one of my problems with journaling. I find it best to journal first thing in the morning, but then I don't know how long it will take, and I don't want to take time away from work during my most productive time. Any comments? Why do you find it best to journal in the morning? If you feel that that's some of your most productive time, then my thought is that maybe you should journal at the end of the day. For me, I would say that it takes me a good hour or two to kind of get into my day. So I don't have that same issue. I generally will write in the morning. But I also will write in the afternoon if I don't have much to write about in the morning, or I'm not really in the mood to write and I want to go to the gym, or I want to do something else, or Kim wants to go to a walk to Starbucks. Yeah, I guess that's that. It's cool to see you became a pro as Tony Robbins. Well, I don't know about that. How often do you review or reflect on your journals? Any tip on this part? I don't do it enough, to be honest with you. It's very rare that these journals come out of the safe. And I think that if I were, I'd say that like ideally, I would spend one day a year where I kind of open these up, maybe, December 31st or January 1st, and really reflect on what happened over the last year as that compares to previous years. I certainly have found one of the benefits of keeping a journal as long as I've kept a journal is that I've recognized a bunch of patterns that kind of I have over long periods of time. And so they wouldn't I wouldn't necessarily notice them if I hadn't been keeping it over decades, right? So patterns in my relationships, patterns with myself, patterns that that the names and the places have changed, but the pattern is yet still the same. I think that what I will do, though, while I have a journal, right, like this is my current one, I will often reflect on what I wrote recently and look back to get a good sense of what's currently going on. And I will refer back often to pages. I number every page, etc. Started journaling since you advised me to. I don't know why I feel so funny and not on the flow every time I try to do it. Well, I guess I'm used to simple, regular copywriting and I can't help it. Well, I guess it also depends on how you approach it. Like, I kind of write, like I said, to myself. And in addition to that, I'm just going to pull a random one. Let's see which this one is. Yeah. All right. Like, so here's one from January 10th, 2019. I'm determined to continue the streak started in the previous journal of ending better than when I started. But I need to do it consciously, purposely, consistently, and passionately. Today was my day to get writing done. So far, I haven't. So I can't be too lengthy here right now. Therefore, just want to mention two things. Kim is finding it very difficult not being able to deliver something negative, something today. Could it be daily? I really need to look at her text messages, maybe make a word aloud. If is that frequent or much more frequent than I'm willing to have going forward, I need to discuss this with her. What do I need to do further so she'll do that for me? So that's a question to myself, kind of like documenting what's going on in my relationship. Number two, I was listening to Lewis Howes. I think I'm misspelling his name, interviewing Ben Shapiro, and he asked Ben a great set of questions, and Ben gave a great answer. I'm going to summarize. If when you die, everything you've ever created disappeared, what three truths, life lessons would you leave behind? One, you're valuable, therefore your life matters. You are a human being having inherent you as a human being have inherent meaning. You are meaningful in that you think you're a meaningful thing in that you think your life matters in the decisions you make matters. Two, you've got obligations to yourself and to others that can only be achieved by making decisions that you can explain the reasons for, not knee-jerk, emotional, reactionary. God, I'm losing my eyesight. Okay. And the reasons you're doing it, if you do, you'll get better results. Three, respect everyone else also has inherent value and their ability to have a conversation. Convince, not compel. I really like the actual conversation, but I got this idea because when I heard Ben's answers, I felt more inspired to take action. And it occurred to me that I shouldn't take the most compelling statements I hear in the motivational videos that I watch that have power even when written and put them on paper to review daily. And whenever I want to slack off, I can review those. I'm determined to live more consciously again. Yeah, I don't know if any of you guys ever do that, but like a lot of times when I'm jumping rope, I will go to YouTube, type in motivational video and watch some of those videos that people make, like clips of inspiring speeches, inspiring activities, visuals, etc. I find those very compelling. They kind of, especially when I'm doing that in the morning and jumping rope, it kind of puts the right mindset on, kind of like if I was tuning into a station. I would love to write a journal, and I'm ashamed that my mom will see what I'm writing. Hopefully a briefcase with a cipher could help in depositing the notebooks. Why would your mom see them? I mean, I keep mine in the safe just to let you know, except the one I'm writing. I have digital versions also, all password protected, so that if I want to refer back, I don't have to open the safe. Also, a completely unrelated question. Do you know your Myers-Briggs type? Are you an I or an E? I'm an I. I'm an introvert. When you die, give your journals to a trusted friend and let them publish the parts that are appropriate. Yeah, that might be a good idea. Although all my friends are so busy. I used to journal a lot in my youth, and I somehow moved to putting it in poetry of philosophy. That's cool. I see those as being totally different, Priya. I don't know if you do as well, but like for me, it's really more about, if I had to summarize it all, it's like staying in touch with myself. And that by staying in touch with myself, I can be conscious and do better. And I have a tendency to not be in touch with myself, to not be conscious, and therefore to just be on autopilot. And I don't know, like I said earlier, I don't know if that's an ADD thing or not, but that's my tendency. And so part of like the key aspect of journaling for me is to prevent that, because nothing ever is like really improved upon, made better, fulfilling, when it's on autopilot, at least not for me. My journal entries turn into songs and multiple threads of mind maps and ideas. Yeah, so do mine a lot of times. So that makes total sense. And sometimes when I'm journaling, my thoughts go way faster than my hands can keep up. So it's a practice with patience with myself. I totally get that. Kimeko, first time I'm ever seeing you here, but I love that comment. I feel the same way a lot of times. And sometimes I'll even put like notes on the side of stuff I want to make sure to write about. Now, I do like to, I've written a lot about ways I use my journal in the hidden obstacle report. So in the hidden obstacle report, I show flow charts that I've drawn. I show sentence stems. I like sentence stems. Like if I were to be 5% more productive at work, I would ... and then like answer that, give 10 answers a day for a week, not looking back, look at the 70 answers that I gave over the week, and then pick the 3 that would be most meaningful for me to actually act upon. Or another way to promote Steal Our Winners would be, and do that and come up with 10 a day for that. I first learned sentence stems from Nathaniel Brandon, and I've been a fan of them ever since. I've also generally write, so I generally, like when I start a journal entry, I write where I am. That's on the left upper left-hand corner, like Delray backyard, right? Then in the middle is my weight / what physical activity I did that day, or, if I haven't done any yet, then that just stays empty and I'll go back and write it in. Then the time and the date. And sometimes in my life, I've also ranked myself on numerous things, like how I'm taking care of myself, how I'm doing in my relationships, how I'm doing at work, and so on. Now, I haven't been as consistent with those things as I'd like. I mean, I always keep the top the same, but as far as rating myself, I've had times where I have like what I believe, and then I have my questions that I write in my journal every Sunday, which I believe I have a copy of here. I think I have an extra copy here. And I find that to be really helpful. Let's see if I can pull one up. There it is. So these are, I don't know if you can see them, but these are the 20 questions you should ask yourself every Sunday. First one is, what did I learn last week? I have trouble answering this question. When I have trouble answering this question, it's time for a change. It doesn't matter how old you are. You should learn something new every week. 2, what are my greatest accomplishments over the past week? 3, which moment from last week was the most memorable and why? 4, what's the number one thing I need to accomplish this coming week? 5, what can I do right now to make this week less stressful? 6, what have I struggled with in the past that might also affect the upcoming week? 7, what was last week's biggest time suck? 8, am I carrying any excess baggage into the week that can be dropped? 9, what have I been avoiding that needs to get done? 10, what opportunities are still on the table? 11, is there anyone I've been meaning to talk to? 12, is there anyone that deserves a big thank you? 13, how can I help someone else this coming week? 14, what are my top 3 goals for the next 3 years? It's funny how this changes more often than you might think. Okay. Have any of my recent actions moved me closer to my goals? That's for me to reflect on, am I making progress or not? What's the next step for each goal? What am I looking forward to during the upcoming week? When I don't have an answer for that, that's a bad signal, and it means that something's got to be adjusted. What are my fears? What am I most grateful for? If I knew I only had 1 week to live, who would I spend my time with this week? So those are the questions that I ask myself every Sunday. And I find that it creates a kind of continuity in my journals, but it's also a very good way for me to kind of check back in, make sure I'm on the right track. Now, in a really kind of just, when you document your whole life, it becomes really fascinating to have all of it, right? So I have the years of frustration, the 2 years I first got online and really struggled. In fact, the U diagram came from my journal. And I have in my journals when I met my ex-wife and the very first time and the first date. And I have that when I decided to get separated and divorced, and when I first met Kim, and when my first child was born. And so I have all of these kind of, it's very easy for me not to be able to access what I was thinking then or feeling then. But with these, I can like kind of hit the rewind button on life and reassociate. And I find it personally much more real than even looking at a picture of myself at that time, because I can't associate as easily with what I was thinking. I don't know if that's the same for you guys, but it certainly is for me. All right, let's see where I lost you guys here. The difficult part of journaling is all about self-honesty, which is really scary. If you're a marketer, though, being deeply self-honest helps you understand how many hidden desires people have, for sure. And not only that, but I would say that, you know, when I used to write my free reports, a lot of people would tell me that it felt like I was standing over their shoulder. And I have to believe part of that is that I was writing about my experiences so often and how similar mine were to where mine was 2 years earlier, they were then. And so it felt like I was speaking exactly to them, but really it was the experience of writing in my journal about what I was experiencing that made me good at writing about that. Daryl in Pompano, good to see you, man. I psychograph whatever is in my mind. It puts me in a distant position and it helps me see the big picture of my current situation. I don't know what you mean by psychograph. Would be interested to hear it, though. For me, it's a summary of my thoughts transformed into creative objects. I process an experience into a poem, and from that into a painting or other creative expression. It's almost like focusing the experience into a conclusion and transforming it into other expression works for me well. Does it also work where you can go backwards? Like when you look at a picture, can you remember the poem and remember the thoughts that led to it? I'm just curious, not being an artist myself. I have no... This list of questions is fantastic. Thanks. Good set of questions. Thanks. Yeah, I'm trying to think of, like, I want to pull up some random ones so I can see what other things I've done over the years that I could share that would be useful. And of course, as I'm doing this, I welcome any questions. Yeah, nothing of any consequence in 97. There's 97 to 98. So this is first section. I was in France. Some emails that like went back and forth with some girl I liked at that time. The first triathlon I ever participated in, New York City Triathlon Club. What's this? Next day I'm in Texas. Like, I can't believe how this is the very first rose that anyone ever bought for me, but it was from my ex-wife when I first met her. And there's the card that was with it. So it's just really, I don't know about you guys, but like when I look at this stuff, I am just, I don't know, it makes me feel better about my life, especially on a day like today when I was sharing earlier how frustrated I was. You know, I like it. I put notes of books that I've read in here. Yeah, kind of crazy. Just how many things have kind of made its way in here. And I wish I can convey this. I wish I had a camera right above my head right now so I could kind of share these things. I know that this is probably not making for good airtime, so I want to do this a little bit faster. But let's see here. Oh, so this is where I first started getting introduced to hypnosis. How bizarre. You know, I think most of you guys know, right, that I opened up a hypnosis center that grew into a chain of hypnosis centers. And that, so, you know, this first thing as far as me learning, getting hypnotized was the beginning. But this is, I don't know if this is a great idea going through all this stuff. And you guys are being pretty quiet, even though the numbers are growing, which I don't understand. Oh, psychograph. Let's see. Psycho plus graph, drawing the current state of the psyche. Check Dr. Paul Dubansky's Mind OS or the Rabbit, Hare, and Tortoise Quit the Race book. I will check that out. I haven't heard about that. Rich, I have some proposals and I'll choose this night. Not sure what that means. Documenting all of your experiences makes it quite easy to create any form of content or author books. I would say so. Priya, yes, I can make painting into total emptiness, and poetry or writing will follow. Could be music too. I find that it's all interconnected, and one format of expression gives birth to others, all sorts in the same inner process. That's kind of cool. Okay, I guess you explained it. Okay, so that's what it is. You can declassify those when ready. We'd learn a lot. Yeah, I bet you would. Hey, Rich, great to see you from Sweden. Good to see you, Marcus. And I have to go just in the middle of a webinar. Okay, well, enjoy the webinar, my friend. Yeah, let's see if I can pull out something random here. So we're in 98 right now. And, oh, wow. Let's see here. I know that there's something I'm looking for, actually. Yeah. Wow. Ugh. I'm sorry, guys. I got thrown off by the Bitcoin stuff, and yeah. I wish that I would have went through these beforehand. So this is like when I already had my hypnosis centers, and now they're growing. Here were notes that I took. I went to this. Oh, let's see. Yeah, I went to some seminar called Results 2000, and so here are my notes, like from that. I don't know if you guys can see it, but so this is something that Brian Tracy went over, and then the next speaker was Tony Robbins. Then the next speaker was General Norman Schwarzkopf. This is when I was living in Manhattan. Crazy, 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 crazy. And let's see what happened here. So there's got to be a space, I would imagine. Because, oh no, maybe there's not. Let's take a look. I'm looking to see what I wrote, if I wrote anything on 9/11. Yeah, I don't want to go down this road. All right, let me go back to you guys, and I apologize. All right. Hi, Rich. I write down my thoughts I have and insights I receive from time to time, but I haven't used a journal systematically as a way of keeping touch with myself so that I can do better. Really appreciate you sharing this approach. My pleasure, man. Wow, that is so cool to see your journals and the personal artifacts. Thanks for sharing that. It's nice to see some of your creativity and the sentiment. How touching. Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of funny. Like I have certain things that I know are on this side, the more recent ones, but like my daughter Ava, who is was born in June 17th, 2002. And so that makes her 19. And when she was younger, one of her teeth fell out and she lost it. So she couldn't put it under her pillow. And so she left a note for the tooth fairy saying that she lost her tooth, but was leaving a grape instead in hopes that that is good enough. And so I have that note in my journal. I think she was like 5 years old. I have a lot of things like that, like things that my daughters drew, or the first card that someone gave me, or anything, or like one of my close friends, George Jackson, when he passed away, there were obituaries written about him there in my journal as well. So yeah, just documents that, I don't know, were important to me, are important to me, kind of bring me back to a different time and place. Offering others the inclination to feel better about themselves and having this accepted is what has provided the fuel to live within each moment, with plenty left for abundant gratitude. All right. I agree with that. I don't know if, thanks for sharing. How did you put those items in there so securely? Tape them and or staple them. They're not coming out, right? Also, thanks for sharing with us even after a challenging morning. Yeah, not that challenging. I went to Success 2000. My notes aren't anywhere as neat as yours. Haha. Wow, that's hilarious. Yeah, I know there's so many good things in here to share, and I just don't know where they are right now. That's the bummer. A lot of times if I didn't have my journal with me, I'd write on a piece of paper and then I'd later on put it in my journal. Certainly have a bunch of those. So, here's like, I don't know. I read this book I really got a lot of value out of a long, long time ago called, I think it was called Best Year Yet. And, I find especially things like that are really useful to, your best year yet. 10 questions for making the next 12 months your most successful ever by Ginny Ditzler. So I went through those exercises and, question 1, over the past year, what have I accomplished? Tell yourself what you feel good about. The truth is far better than you realize. 1, I've networked well. I'm on a first name basis with most of the internet gurus. I don't have to pay for seminars anymore. I am considered an insider. I'm closer with Jay, have a project in the works with John Carlton. 2, I've planted the seeds for my own internet empire with Tiffany, Paul, and someone else. I have 14 ebooks that should all be launched within the next few weeks. I've put together a team and we have an objective. 3, I've written a sales letter that will break 2 million in sales. 4, I moved us to an environment that is more conducive to my success and Debbie, Ava, and Elle's happiness. That's when we moved from Orlando to Boca Raton. 5, I began the rebound from my rock bottom. 6, I sought outside help when I felt I needed it. 7, I've honed my marketing chops and implemented some revolutionary ideas online. This is, by the way, 2004. I've moved closer to my best self lately. 9, I have read countless new ebooks and books. 10, I've begun to leave a legacy with the products I've created and the new ones I've just started. Number 2, what were my biggest disappointments? What dreams didn't come true? Number 1, I'm still not back to my former self. Number 2, I didn't lose and even gain more weight. 3, I didn't take good care of myself. 4, I didn't improve my relationships with Debbie. That was my ex-wife. I never got into a rhythm at work or personally. 6, I didn't maximize my accomplishments with all the advantages I have. 7, I've wasted an incredible amount of time. 8, I didn't develop my sites and my content. 9, I've let my relationships drift both professionally. Stephen, Jay, Harlan, Greg, Rich, Armand, and John, and personally, Debbie, Jeff, Andy, Ava. 10, I didn't write in my journal as consistently as I should. 11, I didn't work on myself enough. 12, I didn't finish what I started. I let too many projects drift. 13, I squandered my opportunity with the poker pros. 14, I didn't buy presence and make an effort for those who matter most to me. 15, don't like the way I look now. 16, I felt stressed out most of the time and I didn't meditate. 17, I didn't stick with an exercise plan. 18, didn't spend enough one-on-one time with Debbie. 3, what did I learn? I learned the importance of routine and how a routine is more important than any single factor that seeks to alter it. What I mean by that is that I need to have a schedule and stick to it no matter what. The longer I stay with that schedule, the more habitual it becomes. And if my schedule supports me with the habits that bring success, it's a double win. 2, I have a high degree of empathy, which helps me befriend people, but it can also hurt me because because I something and try too hard to understand other points of view, even when they compromise my own. Oh, okay. 3, I've spent the past 2 years looking for a father figure, and it's been to my detriment. I need to become my own father figure for myself and my family. 4, I have to assert myself more, stand up for my rights, and spend time working on my own stuff for myself. 5, I need to be efficient, to start working before crunch time and to not avoid thinking work. 6, discipline is important, and sticking with things, finishing them, work before play. So it goes on, right? The next question is, how did I limit myself and what can I do to stop that? The next one is, what are my personal values? What roles do I play in life? And then, so the roles were husband, father, entrepreneur, copywriter, internet marketer, lifelong learner, athlete, fun friend, right? And then goals for each of those. Which role is my major focus for the next year? And that was internet marketer. What are my goals for each of those roles, right? And I turned that into a board, I remember. And then that turns into what is known as the best year yet plan. And so that, what you see there was like 7 pages of work, all boiled down to 1 page. It's cool to have things like that. I know that I've done that kind of work many times over the 25 years. And I also have a part of my hard drive where I've taken pictures of all those. So whenever it's time for me to do any kind of personal work, I'm not starting from scratch. I can review what my thoughts were at each of the times, like for what was important to me, or what were the goals, or what were the challenges or obstacles and things like that. I've been considering turning some of my journals into published videos, telling stories from my life, expressing my thoughts and feelings on politics. I feel like it could be cathartic. I think it would be cathartic, except the politics thing. I think this world is in a very precarious situation right now. And I think anyone sharing politics or their personal opinions runs a risk of offending a lot of other people. Do you know that Leonardo da Vinci's main work was left in his journal? Yeah, I've heard that. He used to put down ideas and innovations as well as events. It's probably the biggest part of work that he left to the world. Yeah, I've heard that. And I heard that he also wrote with both hands. Like, that's crazy. You laid out a great structure to journaling in the hidden obstacles. Yes. And I don't think I'm going to be able to beat that. Nairobi, Kenya. Wow, that's pretty cool. So let's see. I don't think taking you down memory lane is going to be that useful. Well, I wish it was. But let's see. What made it into the pages here? Yeah. So. Okay, so Sunday, October 6th, 2005, I was 221 pounds. Just looking at different dates. Oh, geez. Monday, November 27th, 2006, I was 240 pounds. Oh, my God. Here's my journal entry, 7:15 a.m., Thursday, Monday, November 27th, 2006. I woke up about a half an hour ago, but mistakenly got on my computer because I accidentally erased Adobe Acrobat last night and I just wanted to get another copy. Well, 30 minutes gone, bummer. At least I got up early and I'm writing in here. Two very good signs. Of course, there's so much to do today. It's frightening. But if I can kick myself into gear and do a good job this week, life should be good. And I'm really excited that I am off to a good start by waking up early this morning, writing in here and getting prepared to get on the stair machine. But it's already 7:20, and if I want to work out, I better get started. Although my feet are really hurting me right now. On Saturday night, I used the razor to shave my calluses, and for like the 20th time, I cut myself in one place too deeply. I think it might be, infected because it's hurting me a lot more than I think it should be. Well, I'm going to jump on the stair machine, but first I'll put this away and do my speed reading exercises. So like that's a pretty inconsequential, right, entry, but for sure. But that, like, sometimes that's enough. Like, and it's a lot of times nowadays, if I feel like I'm losing the habit and I want to get back into the habit, then I just promise myself I'm going to write every day. And sometimes I'm literally just opening the journal and saying, I promised I'd open up this journal and write today. Here's all I got. And that's it. Regarding the father figure, I'm going through the same thing, realizing I have to be the father, mother that my parents could never be for me. Journaling helps you discover these types of issues. Yeah, it totally does. Look, and in that vein, I've been very lucky because I did find other people to replace the father figure I was looking for, right? Or to be the father figure I was looking for. One of them was Jay Abraham and one of them was Mark Ford. And I couldn't have asked for two better mentors in this world than those two gentlemen. They're the people I went to when I was thinking about getting separated, when I was thinking about pretty much every major decision I made in my life. I have went to those two men, like as if they were my dad. And, but understanding that was something in me that kept looking for something came about because of writing in my journals. And when I used to see a psychologist, after every session, I would write in my journal about the session so that I wouldn't lose that. I wouldn't lose those insights, those observations, which I tend to do very quickly. I think that I also, for those of you that were on last week's live stream about my biohacking, what was really interesting to me, and this is just why a journal is so important to me, is that when I was reviewing that list, I realized there were a lot of things that I had forgotten about taking that I had run out. And because they weren't part of my normal, like Amazon subscribe and save like plan, I had let them run out. And so like dopamucana, which is a precursor for dopamine, or aniracetam, which is one of the racetams. So it's a stimulant, but it's also got some antidepressive properties as well. Panax ginseng, and a bunch of others. So I'm updating the list, and that I should have done by next week, and then everyone will get a copy. How do you find a mentor or father figure? My impression is that you need to pay someone who becomes your mentor, not that it's wrong, just wondering if it's always like that. No, it's not always like that. I think that, what I would say is this, and I don't know that I'm answering your question identical. I don't know if I'm answering your question directly, but I was not, when I met Mark or Jay, like I was not aware that I was in search of a father figure. But what, in hindsight, looking at my behavior, a certain eagerness to learn, right? A willingness to follow what their advice was and to come back. And what I discovered was that even today, in where I sit, nothing gets me to lean into a relationship more than someone who's taken what I've shared and done stuff with it and has come back and asked me further questions about that, whatever that is, right? But clear that they've done something with it. And now the questions that they're asking are things that I didn't even cover because I wasn't necessarily thinking that someone was going to follow everything. And so there are certainly, I don't even know if I'm describing this as like in a way that you guys can understand. But that, like, an eagerness to apply the ideas of my mentors certainly was something that brought them closer to me, because you get to a certain point, like this is where I'm at in my life, where I certainly don't have the time to do all the things I'd like to do. And so when someone is seizing upon your ideas and running with it, you are rooting for them, and you're rooting for them not only like behind the scenes, but if they want to pull you forward and get more advice from you, then you're all in, because I don't know why. But I would say that those relationships were not paid. And when I bought J. Abraham products and I bought consulting from him, but our relationship developed from there. And I think the last time I quote unquote like bought something from Jay was probably that last multi-hour consulting package I bought from him back around 2001 or 2. And then we became partners and friends and peers. Well, thank you, Health MedX. I'm not sure why you say that, but I'll take it. I used to write my self-hypnosis when I dived into that with my hypnotist. That was great. Yeah, I could see that. I could totally see that. Makes sense to me. Cool. Wow, that's profound and very helpful. Thank you. You're welcome. It's so much easier right now for me to answer your questions because I'm looking through these journals and there's so much that I like that mean a lot to me. But like when I think about like sharing certain things, I just don't know how valuable they would be for you guys. Yeah. So here's like a whole bunch of stuff where I wrote about AI. Here's 10 ideas that would accelerate strategic profits success inside of Agora. Here's an idea that relates to algorithms and internet marketing. It's interesting how often like certain things will kind of circle back around over and over again. I find that really fascinating. Let's see. Lots of diagrams. Here's the vision for strategic profits in 2010. So what's our vision. To be the preeminent entrepreneurial education company that teaches what opportunity seekers really need to learn to write up profits quickly while provide the framework to build a real sustainable business on top of it. Parentheses, I'm reminded of our Momentum series. What do we do best? I wish I had more certainty about this question. Might be a good question for the entire team. We teach opportunity seekers how to be strategic. Maybe a little too strategic, though. I think what we need to become best at is how to best integrate strategy and tactics for fast profits that give momentum and provide the initial building blocks to sustainable profits. What is our business? Todd has a great distinction here. That's when Todd Brown used to work with me. He said that what I'm really saying here is we have to shift from being a seller of information products to a creator of success stories. What comes to mind is how Bill Phillips took EAS from a simple supplement company and combined it with his book, Ready for Life, and his physique contest into a creator of success stories built around his products. The idea here is to develop powerful motivation to succeed in the hearts and minds of our clients. A big contest would certainly be part of that mix, but obviously we can do lots more. Parentheses, ask Brian to get everything he can from Joe Polish on his Better Your Best program, close parentheses. Also find in the Dan Kennedy stuff, I believe it was in the Info Summit 2000, where Joe Polish goes over his Better Your Best concept. Number 4, what needs can we satisfy for customers that competitors cannot provide? What kind of image do you want? What do we want to be known for? What kind of customers do we want to have? How big do we want to be? What personal needs do we want to satisfy? What is our philosophy, ethical and social responsibility and values? So it's funny, right? Like, the company has changed so dramatically over the last 20 years. Kind of crazy. Really crazy. I don't know, guys. I appreciate you being here because I wouldn't be doing this if you guys weren't. I just wonder if this is really providing any value to you guys, though. And I wish I could provide you more. I want to, I'm hoping that I come across something that's really cool to share. So here's something. This is a note. This is one of my daughters. Oh, from Elle, who is now a senior in high school. This is about this. She wrote in April 6, 2011, about going to Nicaragua. We went and stayed at Mark Ford's house down there. Wow. I'd say, probably the most powerful entries for me have been about when there's been a challenge and really thinking it through. That's what, as I look through all this, I find that, yeah, I don't feel like it's, let's see. All right. When you read through your journal notes, do you spend more time enjoying the memories that bring back or more time trying to find ways you can do things better? Well, I don't look at them as frequently as I probably should. And right now, as I look at them, it's more about bringing me back into enjoying those memories, good and bad. It's one of the things that helps provide perspective that nothing good ever lasts, nothing bad ever lasts. Most things in life are fleeting. And that's useful to remember when things are shitty, for sure, that it won't last. It's also useful to remember when things are great, trying to really enjoy every moment of it, be present, because it won't last. And it's very easy to take those things for granted. I would agree with that. John, I agree. I guess journaling would be more like a mirror you look at to discover yourself more and know exactly who you are. And who you could be, I would say. Could be scary. I guess we're all delusional about who we really are. Thank you, Rich. Valuable. Thanks. It's valuable. Cool. I missed the beginning. Would you mind recouping what actual techniques you covered? I didn't cover a lot. That's the thing, Elena. But what I do have is I wrote a report called the Hidden Obstacles Report. You can get that for free in our Facebook group. And in that report, I spend 15 or 20 pages documenting all the things I do in my journal. And I probably should have reviewed that before today's live stream. But I didn't. I've just been busy and beating myself up about other things. I can hear the seed planting in the planter and see the fruit before me. Well, thank you. Definitely good. Seeing you reflect is actually useful to note. Trying to see this, every once in a while, there's something that really sticks with me. I was looking for one of those. Oh, geez. This was before and after photos. That's not what I was looking for. But I remember somewhere in this, I have a letter that was sent to me that pointed out what this person really liked about my personality. And then years later, looking at that note and recognizing that I didn't have that anymore and wanting that was quite profound, extremely so. And I would say that it should be somewhere around here. I'm looking for it. Yeah, there's my friend George, who passed away. George was, if you saw the movie Crush Groove or New Jack City, he produced those movies. And he was also the CEO of Motown when I was in the music business, too. He died of a cocaine overdose. Lost quite a few friends to drugs over the years. It's one of the reasons why I've never done cocaine. Yeah. Yeah. Bummer. Bummer. Anyway, let's see, guys. Can you throw a question at me? If not, maybe we'll end early again for the 100th time until I kind of get my shit together. Another thing I used to do, and I only really did in the beginning, was I would take like books on like quote books, like the ones where it's like Wayne Dyer's quote of the day or Tony Robbins' quote of the day, and I would take that quote and then I would write about it. So I did that early on. So like, let's see. So this is one from a Tony Robbins quote, right? So it says, Giant Steps. That was the name of this little book that had like different thoughts, right? So step number 5. In 1955, Rosa Parks made a decision to defy an unjust law that discriminated against her on the basis of her race. Her refusal to give up her seat on the bus had consequences far beyond those she may have been aware of at that moment. Had she intended to change the structure of a society? No matter what her intent, her commitment to a higher standard compelled her to act. What far-reaching effects could be set in motion by raising the standards you hold for your life, making a true decision to live up to them today? Now, remember that this was in 96, so I was 25. So here was my answer. Well, I think the answer to this question is obvious. I seem to have all these wishes, but I don't make any deep down commitment to one of them, though. I need to spend time alone each day, an hour to concentrate on making my life the way I want it to be. Starting tomorrow, that is what I'm going to do. The rest of my life starts with tomorrow. I have filled my head with ideas, but now I have to follow through. I will wake up tomorrow at 7 a.m. and work out and begin again to listen to my French tapes. I will do this until I finish the series. I will no longer allow myself any excuses. From now on, I'll wake up at 7 a.m. No excuses till tomorrow, right? So it was always just like something to bounce off of, right? And yeah, I mean, I did that kind of thing consistently, different authors, different issues, different friendships reflected in here. And it is kind of cool to be reminded of all these. You were a music guy too, promotion? Well, so here's the story. So, I had my store, and my store became like the hot store in Manhattan. And one of the reasons why it became the hot store in Manhattan is we were the first store to really cater to the club culture. And we lit the store like a club, and we were the first store that I know of that had DJs in the store. And one day, with the DJs in the store cranking and everything else, it occurred to me that we worked so hard to maximize their sales per square foot, because that's what retailing is all about, that it made no sense to fill our air with music that we couldn't sell. So we went about starting to license the music that our DJs played and created mixed CDs that we could sell. And we were too big to just sell them without licensing. So we licensed them and sold them, and they sold really, really well. In fact, they sold so well that I decided to build a recording studio right in the middle of the store. So we built one of the world's best electronic music recording studios with every single vintage item, bass and drum machine, 808, like all the stuff that I don't really know that much about because I am not that musically inclined. But it was great timing. And that's when electronic music just first started to shoot up. That's when Madonna first started getting interested in it, and a bunch of others. Madonna shopped in our store. And so the name of the music label was AB Audio. We were distributed in the US and Europe by Warner Chappell, by Avex Records in Japan, and a bunch of others. But for me, it was a natural extension of the clothing business, and it was a lot of fun. But yeah. Did you know Lenny Denis? I did not. Kneg. No, I don't. Great lessons. It was great to hear a little bit more from you, man. Thanks as usual. Always great to be here. Cool. Is there any relationship between your journal notes and your book notes? No, but sometimes every once in a while, like something from my book notes is so profound to me, it makes its way into my journal. If you don't share anything else today, you've already given us tremendous value. Oh, cool. I DJ'd and produced raves in 2001 in Western Michigan. Oh, that's cool. I just went to a rave, believe it or not, a couple of weeks ago in Mexico. When we were in Cabo, a bunch of people were going to some rave, so I joined, and we went on we took a long cab ride to some hotel, and then from that hotel, we got on a boat, and we went to some island, and it was really, really cool. It might be more of a club now, it seemed like a rave, because there was all these construction material all over the place. It looked like it was a huge development that just went bankrupt, and they left all the construction equipment there. So there were cranes, there were earth moving equipment, like big Caterpillar type things, and they were all over the place. And then they had lasers above them and kind of canopies, like from one big machine to the next big machine. It was really, really cool, and it reminded me of my youth, certainly. Yeah, guys, I'm not going to belabor the point. I really feel like I've been kind of phoning it in lately, and I apologize for you and for not doing the job that I really feel like I should be doing with these. So I'm going to step it up. And obviously Thursday, there won't be a live stream. We'll probably do something on replay because it will be Thanksgiving. But stay tuned. We're going to kick some serious ass starting the following week. I am going to really buckle down, prepare, and do my best to make sure that this time is immensely valuable for each and every one of you. And that's why I feel like a little disappointed in myself with this. I should have prepared more. Journaling has been a big part of my life, and it's a big reason I think I've been successful. And it warrants me spending some time actually to think that through, so I can provide for you some of the best things that I've come across as it relates to journaling. And I certainly have a collection of those ideas, and I didn't do them justice today, just like I really didn't do justice to the biohacking stuff. So what I'd say is that I'm going to, on next Tuesday, we're going to revisit those two things. I'm going to give you more specific actionable advice as it relates to journaling. I'm going to also share with you the supplements I forgot, partly because I forgot that I was taking them and I stopped taking them, and have since reordered all of those. And I just wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving, and that we'll hit the ground hard, and we'll run hard, and we'll play hard, and we'll make this time very valuable next week. So until then, to higher profits beyond, this is Rich Sheffrin, over and out.